Hello everyone. We are now going to go over how to fill out a Maxient report. You will be sent the link through email, star it, put it in a folder, whatever you have to do in order to have it handy for when or if you might need it. The first section that you are going to see is background information. You will need to type in your name, your position, so whichever area you are an RA for, your phone number, your email address, as well as any of the email address of any other RAs who are handling the situation with you. Alright, the next part is the nature of the report. This is very important because you have to make sure that you are choosing the right one so the right people receive it. There is the informational report, what we usually deal with, whether it be a student you come across smoking tobacco or, say, an apartment with a recurring trash problem. There are a lot of different things that fall under this category. Those are just two examples. Next is the student conduct report. So say on rounds over the weekend you have to break up a fight or there's a disorderly conduct incident due to recurring quiet hours violation, things of that nature will go under this one. The third option you are able to choose is the sexual misconduct report. It is imperative that you only click on this one if it falls under this category. So whether it is an assault, a stalking case, domestic violence, or the others that we've learned about during training. Out of respect for privacy of any victims, the only people who should receive this report will be those who can directly help. With the other reports, several people such as your ID and different directors of residence life receive them. With this option, once again, only the people who are required to see it under Title IX law will. After that one, there is the student of concern option. Maybe you have noticed a resident become really withdrawn or is homesick or stopped going to classes. Maybe you aren't sure if anything is wrong, but you or another resident is still concerned. Fill this out so the appropriate people will be notified and can help. The next two, academic integrity issue and a bias incident, fall more so on the side of professors and within the classroom, but that is not to say you may never come across an issue. Lastly, there is the health and safety checks report you can choose. So if you and your RD come across something during these checks and they need to be documented, whether it be a candle you find or an extreme amount of trash, this is when you choose that option. In regards to the urgency of the report, there is either normal or critical to choose from. Since most of the reports are only informational, the urgency is usually just marked at normal. Say you are documenting a sexual misconduct case, the urgency will most likely be critical since a lot of these occurrences could be time sensitive. Choose the date and choose the time of the incident. Be sure you are accurate and as close to the timing as possible because you can go into more specific details later. After that, you will be able to choose the location of the incident. There are several different options to choose from, whether it happened off campus or the different residence halls, as well as other locations on campus, for example, classroom spaces, campus lake, the library, etc. After the general location is chosen, this is where you get more specific. If it happened in South Village, was it on the lawn in between two buildings? On the balcony of a certain floor, a specific room? This is the part where you include those smaller details. For the purposes of this mock incident report, we are going to be making an informational report with an urgency of normal that occurred on July 5th, 2017 at 2:25 p.m. The location was in South Village Apartments, and the specific location was in 222D. Moving on to the next section, that would be the involved parties. Whether you are able to write down all of the names of those involved, or you were able to take pictures of the different IDs after, say, breaking up a party. This is where you would put all of that information. Being able to take pictures of the IDs is extremely helpful because on the back it shows the resident's date of birth. So this way you know if they were underage drinking or not. If they are not a Wingate student or resident, please try and still take a picture of their driver's license. Afterwards, be sure to erase all the photos from your phone once everything in the report has been submitted. When filling out this section, you are given the option to put names, the role of the involved party, as well as other details. Whether they are the alleged, the victim, a witness, or just a student of concern. Try to include as much of this information as possible, so be sure to be talking to everyone during the incident so you can have as much background knowledge as possible. You are also able to add another and include more involved parties. At this point, for the purpose of the mock incident, we are going to write the information of our fake resident, Ariel Mermaid. All right, the next section that you will get to is answering all of the questions involving the incident. For the purposes of this mock incident report, let's say that the scenario involved RAs entering into an apartment due to residents checking out in between summer sessions. During this process, they noticed a strong smell of marijuana coming from the room and called campus safety for backup. Let's start going through the different questions. There is first an option to choose if you called campus safety for an assist call. Certain times you will choose this, say if there was a drug or party related incident, but not always. Remember that campus safety is an asset to use for situations that may be beyond our reach as RAs. Since this was involving marijuana, we would be calling campus safety immediately. So we are going to click on Service Assist. The next two sections are housing and university. Let's look through all the different options and see what pertains to the incident that you're documenting. You're able to choose more than one option as well. Say for this particular incident involving drugs where you came across a resident who had been smoking marijuana. For housing, you may choose smoking in a residential space if it was found in their apartment, as well as fire safety due to seeing a plastic bag covering their smoke detector. Under university, you may click from the second column, drugs, use, possession, distribution, sale, manufacture, or transfer if they were using the marijuana. You would also click drugs, possession of unlawful paraphernalia, depending on what you found the resident with. Several other of these things could happen during the incident, so be sure to mark every single one that applies. At this point, you will be delving deeper into the reasoning, giving a detailed account of what occurred during the incident. There are several important things to remember when you are doing this section. Always write in the third person. So, to begin with, Resident Assistant Amanda Alling did this, or Resident Assistant Amanda Alling did that. At the very beginning of the report, you need to state the date, time frame, and location that the incident occurred. You will also need to state the full name, first and last, as well as all titles for all of the involved parties. After the first time stating the full name and title, you need only use their last name after that. So after the first time you said Resident Assistant Amanda Alling entered the space, from that point on you would say Alling entered the space, as an example. If there happens to be multiples of the last name, use the first initial and then last name. So if there were multiple Allings, it would become A. Alling. Be as detailed as possible and include everything that happened during the incident. If there is missing information, that leaves a lot of questions and unknowns. Make sure you are using specific, concise, and objective language. Stick to the who, what, where, when, whys, and hows. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and write out what a possible Maxient report could look like. During this time, you've most likely been taking notes on your phone since you do have backup in this scenario. Go into Google Docs and type up your report there. On Tuesday, July 5th, 2017, at 2:25 p.m., Resident Assistant Amanda Alling and Assistant Director Jessica Head entered South Village Suite 220 in order to check rooms B and C due to the residents checking out over the weekend. Alling and Head knocked on the door 3 times and announced themselves each time. No one answered the door, so Alling and Head keyed into the suite. Upon entering 220, they could smell the strong odor of marijuana. They also saw that the smoke detector in the common area was covered with a blue Food Lion bag. Resident Ariel Mermaid came out of her room at this point, 222D, as soon as Alling and Head entered further to check spaces. Mermaid told Alling and Head that all of her suite mates were gone and went back into her room. Alling and Head started to check rooms 220B and 220C. While checking 220C, Head noticed the smell of marijuana was stronger in that area. Resident Assistant Shaq Rivers joined Head and Alling at that point to help check spaces after having come from another apartment which was being checked. Head advised Alling to call campus safety and finish checking the vacant rooms with Rivers. Alling and Head also communicated with Assistant Director Jenny Shearer about the call to campus safety to keep everyone informed of the situation. Shearer and Resident Assistant Jasmine Blanding soon joined them in 220. Alling asked Mermaid to come to the kitchen and explained that campus safety was called due to the smell of marijuana. Alling asked if Mermaid had been smoking in the suite, to which she replied that she had earlier that day around noon. Shearer asked if she had any marijuana left in her room, to which she confirmed that she had less than a gram of marijuana in her room. Around 10 to 15 minutes later, campus safety arrived. Officer Max Wolf and Chief Gary Bodford asked Mermaid if she had been smoking and if she had any marijuana. Mermaid told them that she had been smoking and she had some under her mattress in a Dutch Master's package, as well as an item of paraphernalia in her dresser drawer. Wolf and Bodford received the package, the paraphernalia, and the marijuana. Due to the amount of marijuana found and it being illegal in the state of North Carolina and a banned substance on Wingate University campus, they were required to call Wingate Police Department. Officer Ray from Wingate PD arrived and assessed the amount. Ray talked with Head and they determined that the Office of Residence Life and Involvement would process the report and have Mermaid go through conduct. Ray told Mermaid that if she were to get caught with marijuana again, that she would be taken in and charged through Wingate PD. Ray took Mermaid to the bathroom to flush the marijuana. Campus Safety also took the Dutch Master's package and item of paraphernalia to dispose of in their offices. Head talked with Mermaid about the conduct process, what would happen from there, and then everyone vacated the suite. Copy it from your Word document, go back to your Maxient report, and paste it in there. Read it through it once more to make sure everything is correct, you have all of the information that was relevant, and you are ready to proceed. The next section, after writing all of the details, is to then upload any supporting documentation, whether this is pictures that you took or any other relevant information. This could, in another informational report, this could include damages, pictures of driver's license, and any other pertinent information. The last and final thing that you need to do when submitting a Maxient report is to simply click on the box stating, "I am not a robot," and then in the large gray box, you hit Submit Report. It will go to all of the appropriate parties once you do so.